Right. Logging on. So we are live again. So another day, another live. Another day, another live. The world will go to shit, but I will still be here and I will still be live. So definitely count on that happening. Yeah, I just came back from the gym. Today was a leg session. And honestly, like something happened where I kind of gassed out in the middle of it. Like I got tired and I couldn't finish. So my hypothesis is it's happening because I'm dropping calories a bit. Like I'm cutting, like the just getting summer ready. So that's my hypothesis, which makes sense. But yeah, that was it's never good when you have to like leave your workout halfway through because you're like, oh man, like I'm kind of getting tired out. But that's the game. You just rest, sleep, and then you come back tomorrow for another day, right? That's all you got to do. So, top three fruits. Are we talking normal fruits or devil fruits? That's the question. Also, I realized I gotta close my the the drapes. I have to close them because right now they're open. So BRB. Okay, perfect. Drapes are closed. What are devil fruits? If you know, you know. If you don't, that's okay. But if you know, you know. I don't really eat fruits actually. I'm more of a vegetables guy. The only fruits I really eat are apples. I think fruits are just too sweet. They're just a bunch of sugar. They're good sugar, but actually, so if I had to pick, I pick berries, blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. Those are my top three. I mix them in my Greek yogurt. So I create like a Greek yogurt protein bomb, which is basically Greek yogurt, protein powder, and then berries. Recently, I've started adding some chocolate chips in there, but only like a smattering. What are your thoughts on modafinil for fatigue and depression? Yeah, it's good. Modafinil is good. I remember I had a patient. Well, actually, I've been using it now. I have a patient who's on the night shift. And so for her, we use modafinil. She's a nurse, night shift nurse. And so modafinil really helps her because she doesn't get that much sleep during the day. Her schedule's really messed up. But she has to be able to function at night. So that's why modafinil has been a game changer for her. You don't like grapes? No, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Oh, what you have to say? Yeah, definitely not a fan of grapes. Hello from Australia. Nice. Yeah, what time is it there? How do you know if I'm dealing with someone with narcissism? I mean, you kind of get the gut feeling, right? Like you kind of get that ick. So you just sense it when they're all talking about themselves rather than about you. I remember I had a colleague in med school like this, and basically this guy was the type who like would never ask about you and who would only ever ask about himself, right? Only ever talk about himself. And yeah, I remember feeling jealous of him because like one, he was like super good looking, but then two, he also got some really high grades. Like he was the type who would just eat, or sorry, he would just like look at the slide and remember it. And like I remember we were sitting in like a lecture like months later, and the teacher brings up a point, and we're doing like these group activity, and and none of us knew it, and he's like, "What? Don't you know this was on like slide 5 of this lecture?" We're like, "Bro, like how the fuck do you know that?" So yeah. But anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. Honestly, we were talking about there's a point to that story. There was a point to that. Why was I talking? Oh, narcissism. That's why. Yes, that's why I was talking about it. Yeah, but yeah, he was that type. Like he would never ask about you. Like he was always very, kind of full of himself too. But unfortunately, I think it will come to bite him. Like we started hearing, oftentimes you hear stories like surgeon did this in the OR, surgeon operated on the wrong foot, surgeon did did some bad thing with a patient. Like you just hear like random stories like that. And so me and a couple other classmates joke that like that would be this guy in sometime in the future, just due to his narcissism. But the point is that you have a gut feeling, like you just kind of sense it, right? You sense the hollowness, you sense shallowness, you sense that there's none of that genuine warmth and connection. Yes. Prescribed pregabalin for anxiety. Yeah, that's a decent option. It's not the like first line option, but it can work. It can work for the right person. Do you think Seroquel is good for MDD? Yeah, actually. I actually just made a lecture in my coaching community. Today I was talking about bipolar disorder and bipolar 2 and how Seroquel is one of the best choices for bipolar depression. It's really good for it. And the reason that Seroquel is really good for bipolar depression is because it hits a lot of serotonin receptors too. It just doesn't touch dopamine. And so because it targets that, that's what makes it good for bipolar depression, as well as like bipolar mania and stuff too. So to answer your question, yes, I do think Seroquel is good for MDD. It's better as an adjunct than as like just on its own, but yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. So this was a lecture I made for my NP coaching community. And right now we just finished the bipolar module, so that's going to be up tomorrow. What about a narcissistic parent? How do you deal with a narcissistic parent? I think you just have to guard your boundaries, right? As a kid, it's hard. You don't really know what's going on. But as an adult, right, you know better. So you control how much interaction and attention you give them. So just like a kid who's tantruming, right? Like it's like when they're tantruming, they're looking at you, but then when you kind of walk away, they suddenly stop. So the reason is because you're not feeding them attention, just like an internet troll, right? You don't give them attention and then they go away. So that's the same thing with a narcissistic parent, right? When you give them attention, you are reinforcing their behavior. So you have to modulate your attention, right? You can train people to respond the way that you want them to with your attention. So if you like how someone's responding, then you treat them well, you're very kind and like you acknowledge what they're doing and all that. But then if you don't like it, then you pull back your attention and you don't give them that attention. And that's why the problem with that is that people will rather argue, right? Like someone who's narcissistic or has cluster B, they'll argue with you to get your attention. And if you give in, then you are feeding them because you're giving them attention. What do you think of fluoxetine in the Prozac family? Good, bad? Yeah, fluoxetine is really good. It's my favorite SSRI. Right, as a kid you don't. Right, that's what I'm saying. As an adult, yeah. Why would gabapentin cause mental health crisis with SI thoughts and stuff? Non-stop crying? I don't think it would. How old were you when you became a psychiatrist? Yeah, so I went to med school when I was 22, and then I went to residency when I was 26. Awesome. Going through everything. Emily says hi. Hi, Emily. Bipolar mania. I like Seroquel, but not the weight gain. Yeah, Seroquel is not the... Yeah, exactly. I feel like narcissism's overly used. Yeah, of course. All these psych terms are overly used. I agree with you. But there's a difference. Narcissism is a trait, right? And you need narcissism. I was talking about this in another live. But you need narcissism. Like every successful person in the world is narcissistic because you have to be. Look, so on one hand, you have like, like the Buddha, right? Enlightenment, spirituality, you don't need everything. Material possessions are worthless, whatever. So that's like just live the rest of your days in your monk, right? So let's assume that's like zero narcissism. Then you have on the other extreme, right? Drives everyone away, is only about themselves, only about material possessions, doesn't have any friends, doesn't have any family, has alienated them away, it's only about themselves, probably miserable. So those are the two extremes you have. And then the trait is a spectrum, right? It's not that you just have it or don't have it. Just like you can be kind of mean to someone or moderately mean or very, very mean, right? There's that line. And so you need a healthy amount of narcissism. Every successful person has it. I'm narcissistic. Every beautiful girl you see is narcissistic. Every successful man you see is narcissistic, because you have to be. You have to be concerned about yourself to want to succeed. But if it's too much, then it impairs your relationship with other people. And that's where it becomes not a pro-social trait, but a anti-social trait. So that's the key here. We want to take it from being a pro-social trait, or we want to keep it as a pro-social trait, but not make it an anti-social trait. Everyone quiet, my nighttime show is on. Yeah, we yapping. Isn't Pregabalin off-label, prescribed for social anxiety? It is. Yeah, the main side effect with Pregabalin is sedation and sleep. That's the main one. Jennifer says you're an incredible psychiatrist. Thank you, I appreciate that. Thoughts on why they changed Adderall? Yeah, Adderall has actually changed. I've had a lot of patients say that it's the generics. The generics just don't feel as good. They literally don't feel as good as the brands do. I've had a ton of, I used to think that was just like a hoax, but I've had like so many patients say that yeah, I agree. Is Luvox good for OCD? Yeah, I actually just prescribed it to a patient. Basically, she's on Effexor. She's on Effexor, and then I changed it from Effexor because she found it wasn't working. So we're going down on the Effexor and starting up Luvox again. I think Luvox acts a little bit quicker too for OCD than some of the other ones. Because it's got this receptor activity. It's called the sigma-1 receptor, and that receptor acts quicker than others. Yeah, fluoxetine safe in liver disease. Yeah, it's pretty safe. I have my period. Awesome. Thank you for, not sure what that was. I have my period and they're horrible, so like I don't know what. Hormones part of periods. Yeah. So there's a thing called PMDD and PMS, right? So that basically means that you get your period and you get irritable during your period. That's what that means. So there's SSRIs are usually used to treat that. There's a couple supplements too. Zinc is one, omega-3s are another, calcium is another, magnesium is another. Those are all supplements that are used to treat PMS, PMDD, like irritability. So you can definitely do that too. Do you think any of these mental issues have anything to do with the food people consume, like diet and disease? Yeah, of course. That's like saying, does diabetes have anything to do with food and people consume? Like, of course. With every condition, there's a nature and a nurture. There's the genetic component, and then there's the lifestyle, like exposure, trauma, whatever component, right? And so you have the biological component, and then the psycho and the social component. And when you eat crap food, it causes inflammation in your body. And then when your body has inflammation, it causes damage. The way I describe inflammation is like, think about if an army invades a village. They might destroy the village. Sorry. Think of inflammation like an army invading a village. So the army might destroy any of the invaders of the village, but the village gets destroyed from the collateral damage of the army fighting. That's what inflammation is. Let me bring that down. If Wellbutrin is paired with Pregabalin, would it reduce sedation? Ideally, yeah. Yeah, it would. That was, yeah, that's some clever pharmacology. For example, another clever trick is like, you can combine something like Effexor with something like propranolol, and so you can use both of them with anxiety, and Effexor raises blood pressure, and then propranolol lowers blood pressure. They can cancel each other off. I live in New York. How do I get off Zopiclone? It's been a year. Just slowly, very slowly. It's me again. Is heart flutters normal after increasing to 15? Yes, you just gotta. I think you just gotta stick with it. You know, ride it out. Like these are questions you should ask definitely your doc, right? Because it's hard to know your individual situation. But I would definitely ask your provider for sure. What ethnicity are you? I am Indian, so I was born in India. Awesome. Thank you, Sunny, for the sub. So yeah, remember, so when you sub, I can prioritize your answers and I can look at them a lot more. They all stand out too. You are my favorite. LOL. I appreciate that. Yeah. As a psychiatrist, can you see patients with other states? Yeah, I have a bunch of state licenses. I have a lot of them. So the best way to do that is to just book a consult in my website. And so if you go to my website, you can book a consult and then we can see if we're a good fit to work together. As a psychiatrist, can you tell me why people tend to lose their minds in airports and airplanes? Yeah. So trauma response is a big one, right? So in airplanes, people can't escape. In an airport, you're trapped, right? You can't really just like leave easily, especially in an airplane. So you're trapped. You can't really leave. You're in an enclosed space. You're going to be up in the air, so you really can't leave. And so a lot of people who've had traumas, there's this thing called hyperarousal where they're constantly like aware of their surroundings. And they also know where the exits are. And so if they know where the exits are, it's like when they walk into a room, they might go to they might sit like put their back against the wall and always kind of keep an eye on the exit because they know where they're at. So airplanes are super, super scary in that regard. Deciding between transferring to UCSD. I mean, I have no idea. I have no experience with that system. Awesome, Nicolette. Thank you for the sub. Propranolol versus situational anxiety versus Ativan. Ativan's stronger, but propranolol's not as addictive. That's the trade-off there. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate it. Does fluvoxamine Luvox cause weight gain? It can. Yeah, it can. It's like a moderate one. XL Wellbutrin versus SR. XL for sure. It's once a day versus twice a day. Does quitting Xanax give me seizures? It definitely can. So you need to just taper off of it slowly. It's not a med that you just kind of quit cold turkey. Yeah. Thank you. I wish you were my doctor. Yeah, so a lot of people actually they come to me for second opinions and stuff. So they'll book a consult on my website. And so if you do that, we can see if we're a good fit to work together. So definitely check that out. You can check my website and just see if we're a good fit. I like how your eyes move a lot when explaining something. I do that a lot. Yeah, I always look up. I don't know why, but like I always like look up. I think it's a brain thing. It's like I think if you like look in one direction or the other direction, it's like a cue from a different hemisphere. As a medical professional, I can't talk about medication with my followers. No. So I wouldn't talk about medication with your followers. I would talk about what your expertise is. Would love to have you on one of my lives. Nice. Yeah, we could definitely do that. Join forces. Hey, how are you? Nice. Vyvanse versus Ritalin for 14-year-old ADHD. They're both good. It just depends. I would try Ritalin first. Is lisdexamphetamine effective? That's Vyvanse. Yeah, it is. She's also on sertraline for anxiety, which seems to be helping. They want to start her for ADHD. Nice. Yeah, sertraline's good. Yeah, it's a solid combo. What meds work best for insomnia? Currently take temazepam. I wouldn't take temazepam. I like trazodone more. Temazepam just has addictive potential. Did you get a degree in RIP? We got restricted. Great. What are your thoughts on Auvelity? It's good. I like Auvelity. Yeah, it's bupropion combined with wow, my brain's pooping out right now. Bupropion combined with dextromethorphan. Top pick for antidepressants? Prozac. That's my favorite. Least sedating, SSRI, also Prozac. Does Abilify make you gain weight? Mildly. Do you see patients in Georgia and kids? Yes and yes. Yes, so I do have a Georgia license, and yeah, I'm a child adolescent psychiatrist. So yeah. I'm worried about taking people from TikTok due to my license. Nah, it's overblown. The world's joining social media. That's where the world's heading. So either we get you adapt with the times, or we get left behind. That's the way the world works. As Charles Darwin said, how a species, it wasn't the fastest or the strongest species that survived, but the most adaptable. For me, it's like I'm trying to gather my thoughts and looking for the memory. Yeah, I do that same too. Like I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Yeah, exactly. I do the same shit. Superhero shrink. No, I don't think I'm a superhero. Appreciate that. Your eyes like tired without the special glasses. Yeah, I just came back from the gym, and it's hour 15 here too. So probably gonna be a shorter live. I think I am definitely tired. Okay, I would definitely not sleep with a client. No, therapists sleep with their clients and they're still allowed to work, so I agree with you. I mean, that's crazy. That's like ethical no-no. Do you prescribe Luvox over clomipramine for severe OCD? I usually start with Luvox and then move on to clomipramine if Luvox didn't work. So I agree it's okay to take tons from TikTok. Yeah, of course, the game's changing. Like social media is everywhere. So it's just a marketing source, right? It's not like you're taking clients. In fact, those are the best clients because they want you. See, here's a business lesson if you are interested and if you like business, which I love. If you get some rando who joins you, who wants you to be your therapist, there's no relationship there. They're just view you as any other therapist. You're not special. But if you get clients who are finding you from social media, they've watched your videos, they've consumed your content, if they seek you out, then they obviously like you. They feel somewhat connected to you. So now that person's going to be a way better client. They're going to pay more. They're going to follow through with what you say. They're going to be a lot more respectable, and they're going to be a lot more grateful. And because of that, they're going to get better. Like magically they'll get better because the patient therapist, the therapeutic alliance is automatically starting off at a good foot. So if you're in business, you don't want to become what's called a commodity. And a commodity means that you're replaceable. And what that means is like, let's say you call a plumber, right? You call any fucking plumber, like it doesn't matter. But if you call, I don't know who a famous plumber is, but yeah, or like athletes, right? Like let's say you need some football player. You know, you just have some like random college football player, whatever. But if you have like an Alabama player, then oh shit, like that player is special. So that's the same thing. A famous plumber, yeah. Basically, my point is if someone is unique and famous, then people will pay way more and people will want to seek them out more. Mario and or Luigi, LOL. Yeah, patients do join my lives and they like it. right? And then it further reinforces the relationship that you have with them, and they further like you more because of that. And actually it improves them because now they get value from you outside of just the sessions. How hard was med school? I mean, med school is definitely harder than chemistry, and I loved Conor McGregor used to be a plumber before becoming a UFC champ. That's wild. I didn't know that. Is it a good idea for someone to go from a stimulant to a non-stimulant for someone who struggles with fatigue? Stimulants are usually better with fatigue than non-stimulants, but non-stimulants, the advantage there is that they last longer. Yeah, Vyvanse is really good for overweight and binge eating. Mario and or Luigi. I was always team Luigi. Yeah, exactly. The game has changed. The game has changed. Also, yeah, for some reason, I think I'm really tired today. So yeah, I think it's the gym. So it kind of went a little crazy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I know this is shorter than normal, but I think tomorrow's gonna be a little bit bigger, a little bit longer for sure. Yeah, I just feel myself like crashing. So yeah, awesome. Thank you, Nicolette. I appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow.